welcome to the Newsdesk Sunday Guardian Roundtable. Well, this week we're going to be discussing an issue that really affects us all. The new policy guidelines that have been issued by WhatsApp, we've all got that message from them asking us to sign some new updated terms and conditions. That's led to a whole lot of furor about, is it encroaching our data privacy? Is our chats going to now not, be public? What is happening? So exactly what this means for all of us. Should we all shift to Signal or Telegram, as it's being said? Are they more safer? What exactly is WhatsApp's point of view in this? Why did it come out with this update? Because, as somebody saying they've been doing this for a while now, but in fact, let me just put some things on the table. I spoke to, we don't have anyone from WhatsApp here, though I reached out to them, and their point of view was that, they are basically four WhatsApp models. There is a WhatsApp chat, there is a WhatsApp 2 for business, and there is something called WhatsApp payments. There's a WhatsApp payments is governed by the privacy rules of the Indian payments, whatever the rules are, and that is secure. The new update is actually for the business models. But then we've all got the chats on our, this updates terms and policy to be signed on our normal WhatsApp chats also. So what exactly does that mean? Should we all shift from WhatsApp or not is really the big question on the table. Joining me for this is Pranjal Sharma. He is an former economic editor, strategy expert, and also the author of Automated India. Dr. Jayajit Bhattacharya. He is the president at the Center for Digital Economy Policy Research. Saikat Datta. He is a strategic advisor at Nalcon and the Dialogue. And Udbhav Tiwari. He is a public policy advisor at Mozilla. So yeah, that is really the big question, because half our information is out there, whether we do Google Maps or Zomato or Make My Trip. So what are we really so upset about at the end of the day?
Priya, if you look at what's really being offered to you, the last word that Pranjal said is choice. Apparently you did have a choice. The pop-up came up from WhatsApp and said, you have a choice of either agreeing to part with your data in whichever way we want to use it. And they have some checks and balances that apparently they say, but there's no way for any third party to audit it. There's no third party audit on whether they're actually having end-to-end encryption, whether they're actually sharing your chat message or not sharing your chat message. But if I just stick to the message from WhatsApp was that either you give consent to part with your data, or you have the free choice to leave WhatsApp. Now, is that really a free choice? If it was a free choice, would you really hesitate? Would you really give consent? If WhatsApp said, well, you can continue with WhatsApp without the consent, would any of us give the consent? It's pretty much saying that we'll take off in an aircraft while it's flying in the sky. Suddenly they'll say, now the fares have doubled. Those who don't like can leave the aircraft and we'll not give you a parachute either. That's not a choice. Because when you joined WhatsApp had the promise of being free, of protecting your data, of protecting your privacy. And suddenly when everybody is onto WhatsApp, you're saying you have the free choice to leave. Now, what's stopping you from leaving? Why am I comparing it to the flying aircraft? You cannot leave because your businesses, your social life, your communication, everything is on WhatsApp due to an effect called the network effect. The network effect essentially means if there are more people on the network, then the value of the network goes up and you can't really quit that network because it becomes very valuable to you. When the network value was going up, WhatsApp had certain promises, and therefore, based on those promises, you agreed to bring your friends and relatives, your parents, your old parents, everybody on it, and you train them. You actually spend time training them as to how to use WhatsApp so that you can make a call, a video call, and so on and so forth. Now, suddenly WhatsApp says that you will not have any of that unless you agree to the terms and conditions that I'm giving you, and there is a gun on the head. It also reeks of sheer arrogance. It also reeks of the fact that you don't have control over your own data. You really want to say no to it. Many of us are rationalizing, saying, oh, well, my data is not so important. I'm not discussing anything illegal. So what's the point? So, I'll click on it and say, okay, my data is up for sale. Did WhatsApp ever say that you are the product? They always said that you're free to use this platform. Your data will be protected. They never said that this is a place where you'll be used as a product. That's actually a violation of the unsaid communication, of the unsaid consent that was given, right? And under the Indian legal system, if you are earlier given consent to something else, that is accepted in the court of law as consent being provided, and subsequently, without a warning, you change that. That is an unethical practice, and the unethical practice is coming from the fact that it's a digital monopoly. The WhatsApp, and prior to that, if you saw what happened in the last quarter of 2020, where Google came out with an arbitrary 30% charge on the startup, saying, well, you're free to go to any other platform if you want to. Which other platform will the startups go to? That is where the power of digital monopoly is getting unleashed, where every adult in this country is getting compromised, is getting blackmailed, and is getting forced into accepting something which really they don't want to accept. And that's the core point, Priya.
Jayajit, your take?
Sorry, was that question to me, Priya?
Yeah, Jayajit, yeah.
So Priya, absolutely, I completely agree with what Pranjal mentioned. If you look at, what Saikat was talking about, the case where your data that is being shared by a travel agency can then be used on Facebook. Well, who gave the permission for that travel agency or Facebook or WhatsApp to use your data? You never gave consent. Now that business entity gave consent, that does not mean your data will get compromised, right? So let me take another example. If I give consent to share my data on WhatsApp, by definition, I'm also sharing your data and Pranjal's data and Saikat's data and Uddhav's data, because you're all connected to me through WhatsApp. But none of you actually gave consent to that. So on what basis was your data shared by everybody else? Let me also state this, that I'm saying this with enormous amount of responsibility. My own education is a PhD in privacy from IIT Delhi. So I would understand what privacy is all about. There is clear violation of privacy, both in terms of the legal outlook, from an ethical outlook, and from a moral outlook. And it is just not tenable that we say that no violation is happening. If we say it's end-to-end encryption, and I think the example that Saikat gave was that Signal and WhatsApp use the same encryption technology, there is a reason why it's the same encryption technology, because the founder of WhatsApp quit WhatsApp when Facebook took it over, because he saw that Facebook was violating the privacy and the data of WhatsApp. And then he went and created Signal, where the privacy and the respect for data of individuals is maintained. And that is why the encryption algorithms are same. The larger issue, Priya, is the fact that there is no legislative and regulatory oversight over these, what we would now call as OTT. OTT is used in terms of media and entertainment, but it's the same issue. When we had messaging earlier, it was SMS that was controlled under the telecom licenses being given to the telecom operators. There is no license given to WhatsApp. There is no regulatory oversight over WhatsApp. There is no third party who's looking at whatever WhatsApp is saying is true or not. There is no third party who's really analyzing the privacy policy being put out. As Pranjal mentioned, even the best of lawyers will find it difficult to understand what they're talking about. So they're basically trying to obfuscate the matter and create a moat around themselves, which is more trying to protect themselves from the existing regulatory structure, forcing people to give a consent. And I will underline the word, it's forcing. If you were not forced, if you were given an option that please give consent and you can continue, or not give consent and you can continue with a few less features, most of us would opt for the non-consent option. The fact that we opted for the consent option proves that there was a gun on the head. And that is clearly not acceptable. And therefore, I think, and as we move forward, it is important that there is a regulatory oversight over monopolies, and there could be a definition of monopolies in terms of how many users, once it covers a certain threshold, a number of users, it should be defined as a monopoly, and thereafter, certain regulatory oversights must kick in, irrespective of whether it's a foreign entity or a domestic entity. Those kind of regulatory oversights are needed at this point in time.
I want to come in, and Uddhav, but we are out of time totally. So unless you want to, quick 1 second.
Few quick ones. One, in fact,
one quick one to each.
In that article, I did not say data is oil. I was arguing against it because it's very different from oil, and we need it. But the larger point is that if you're saying that unless a regulation comes in, WhatsApp will not behave, that just is an admission of guilt. And I also fail to understand that when we are having the government trying to provide subsidy and trying to help out people, and they need a system for that, we are up in arms against it. And when a private company, which is not even Indian, gets our entire data, which is far more detailed and granular than what the government can and the private sector can.
Government wanting to share data with the private sector is not.
Again interrupting. Yeah. Sorry, Saikat, you're again interrupting.
But yeah.
Let me complete and you'll have your turn.
Quickly, no, he won't have because we're out of time. So quickly, Jayajit, one more.
It is not acceptable that we allow a foreign third party to get a 360-degree view of what we have, And also it is viral in nature. If I get my data, if they get my data, they also get your data, Priya, which is not the case.
You made that point earlier. Jay, Saikat, quickly, you want to come in?
No, so as I said, if it's your personal chat, end-to-end encryption applies. There will be no sharing of data whatsoever. So again, that is again a misconception that is floating around, and that's written in the policy if somebody were to go ahead and read it.
Jaydeep has a point. At the end of the day, if a business one shares the data, then you haven't really signed up for the business app, really. So why would your data?
No, but then
Yeah,
you
let
have
me
to get
just
off completely
one
off
point.
any telecom network, because telecom networks are already taking your data, and the government through an ordinance is taking your data and giving it to private companies.
That I
How are you
agree.
going to
Same
stop
rules
that?
for Aadhaar, same rules, different
Same
rules for
rule.
WhatsApp.
You can't have different rules, and this subsidy thing does not work at all, because repeated studies have shown that no subsidy is actually held by this data collection. And the fact is, even
So Priya, let me make 2 quick points. One, it's very fascinating that this is the 1960s and 40s. Because you don't have the rules, we will dump absolutely bad food on you. We'll dump toxic stuff in your country, but we will make sure that our own countries are safe, because it's your problem, because your rules are ding. We will just do what we think is right because your rules are poor. Second point, it's very interesting that Facebook is being compared with a sovereign nation. And I think that's a real issue, that Facebook, Twitter think of themselves like sovereign nations who are above everybody else, above all rules and regulations. And therefore, to compare Facebook with the government of India, I think it's very fascinating and actually reveals a lot.
Okay. On that note, sorry, Udbhav, I couldn't get you in, but I think the point you made is the point everybody is also agreeing on. We need better rules and regulations, and there should be the same rules for Aadhaar as there are for other private players also. We need to really get our own house in order. And I hope you've learned something from this conversation as I have. Thank you all for watching this show, and thank you all, gentlemen, for coming on the show.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.